The name Napoleon Bonaparte is synonymous with ambition, military genius, and empire. But after his dramatic fall from power, his fate took him to one of the most remote places on Earth. St. Helena, a tiny island in the South Atlantic, would be Napoleon's final home, an exile where he would live out the last years of his life far from the grandeur of Europe and the empire he had built. It was June 18, 1815, when Napoleon faced his final defeat at the Battle of Waterloo. His dreams of a European empire crumbled before the combined forces of Britain, Prussia, and the Netherlands. The once mighty emperor, who had once conquered most of Europe, was now a prisoner of war. After his surrender, Napoleon was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena, a British-controlled territory nearly 2,000 miles from the nearest landfall. The journey was long and treacherous. Napoleon left France on a British ship, the HMS Northumberland, in October 1815, bound for a lonely, desolate island in the middle of the ocean. It was a place far removed from the power centers of Europe. St. Helena was isolated, surrounded by cliffs and steep terrain, with no hope of escape. On October 15, 1815, Napoleon arrived on St. Helena. It was an island of volcanic rock, known for its harsh environment and sparse vegetation. It seemed to mock the grandeur of his past empire. Napoleon's arrival marked the beginning of his final chapter. Napoleon was placed under constant surveillance at Longwood House, a residence that would become his prison. Although the British tried to keep him isolated, Napoleon's presence on the island would continue to captivate the world. Though a prisoner, Napoleon never lost his sense of self-importance. He spent much of his time in solitude, reading, writing, and reflecting on his past. He dictated memoirs, telling his version of events and trying to shape his legacy. His health, however, began to deteriorate. The isolation and harsh climate took their toll on Napoleon. In his final years, he suffered from what was believed to be stomach cancer, a disease that would eventually claim his life. His physical decline was marked by frequent pain, but he remained determined to maintain his dignity. Despite his deteriorating health, Napoleon continued to hold court. He received visitors, such as his devoted attendant, the Count of Las Cases, who helped him with his writings, and his small group of followers. The British officers assigned to guard him were often puzzled by his ability to charm, intimidate, and continue to inspire loyalty. But it wasn't just the isolation of St. Helena that haunted Napoleon. He was constantly reminded of his past victories and failures. The wars he fought, the empire he built, and the empire he lost. Memories of the grand campaigns in Egypt, Spain, and Russia lingered, even as the finality of exile sunk in. In his final years, Napoleon spent long hours contemplating his past from the cliffs of St. Helena. He spoke often of his desire to return to Europe, but he knew it was an impossible dream. His once great ambition had been replaced by a quiet resignation. On May 5, 1821, after years of declining health, Napoleon Bonaparte died at the age of 51. He was surrounded by his few remaining companions. The official cause of death was stomach cancer, though some have speculated foul play, including poisoning. Napoleon's death did not go unnoticed. The world had been watching his final years with a mixture of fascination and sorrow. He was buried in a modest grave on St. Helena, far from the grand tombs of emperors and kings. Though Napoleon's final years were spent in isolation and suffering, his legacy lived on. In 1840, his remains were exhumed and returned to France, where they were laid to rest in the Grand Tomb at Linville in Paris, a city that would always remember him. Today, Napoleon remains one of the most influential and controversial figures in history. His time on St. Helena may have been marked by loss and hardship, but it also cemented his place in the annals of history as a man who rose from obscurity to become a legend. The winds of history still whisper across the lonely shores of St. Helena, where Napoleon Bonaparte, the emperor who once ruled Europe, spent his last days, far from the empire he once commanded. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more historical stories.